Alright, y'all, we're back, and today we're going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns and what their current offseason holds for them after their very exciting trip to the NBA bubble. On today's episode of the 3 for 30 series, we're talking about D-Book and the boys. We're going to jump straight into the first point on the board for today, and that it is officially D-Book o'clock in the NBA. And what I mean by this is we all know the Suns had a great bubble experience. They went 8-0. Devin Booker was putting up about 31, 6 and 5 for his stat line over those 8 games. He almost willed them to the playoffs as an 8 seed had it not been for the Grizzlies winning their last game, and a bunch of great things from Devin Booker. And now that they're even into the offseason, he just continues to win. He's spending his time with Kendall Jenner most of the time, and he most recently just got invited to Kim K's private island for the little getaway that they recently had. So, I mean, what man can hate on that for Devin Booker? But getting back to the bubble, the Suns also saw Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson both step up as very, very viable 3-and-D options, especially Mikal Bridges, who had a real growth spurt in those 8 games in Orlando. He put up some great numbers and was a great on-ball defender against teams' best offensive players. I know, thinking back in my memory, he had a great defensive game against Jason Tatum, and then he had another one against Pascal Siakam, who are seen as two of the better young forwards in the league. Not to mention that DeAndre Ayton also showed his improvement in the bubble. He's even knocked down a few threes, which could be a very, very extraordinary improvement in DeAndre Ayton's game if he can maintain that for the coming seasons. And then even guys like Cam Payne were giving solid bench minutes. Overall, Monty Williams, a lot of credit due to him. Head coach was having his team playing at the highest level of intensity for all 8 games, and it showed in their final record. Overall, it really seems like Devin Booker is taking that next step towards NBA stardom. He still is a very young scoring talent. He's getting even better on the defensive end year by year, and I personally cannot wait for him to finally hit the playoffs next year, as I hope the Suns do, and I hope I can watch Devin Booker go toe-to-toe with the best in the league with, possession by possession game down the line, because I think Devin Booker is a perfect fit for that type of NBA environment in the playoffs. And one move that the Suns can make this offseason that could help propel them to that playoff spot is the second point on the board, which would be to re-sign Dario Saric. Saric is currently a restricted free agent this offseason, and if it weren't for the bubble, there probably wouldn't be many talks, or at least interesting talks, about what the Suns plan on doing with him in this upcoming offseason. And that is because prior to the bubble, Saric was a starter in the Suns rotation and was putting up some pretty mediocre numbers, nothing too crazy. He was just kind of a 3-and-D type guy, but he could also move the ball a little bit as a stretch 4, and it was just some typical stuff, a lot of what we saw from him in Minnesota, which was overall just disappointing. But now coming out of the bubble, we see that Dario Saric has decided to elevate his game all of a sudden. He was the 3rd highest scorer in the bubble for the Suns behind DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker, which is to be expected, but still a good finish for him. And through this, we saw him able to do this because of the fact that Monty Williams decided to move him, 1, to the bench, and 2, to use him as a bench 5, and basically be able to be a play initiator and run the offense at times as a lead playmaker with that second unit. Saric initially expressed this interest in that bench role, but eventually Monty Williams got it through to him, and they saw great success as a result of it. So in my head, that means that Saric might be more likely to accept this role in the future if that's what the Suns decide to go with into next season, and it's one I think they should. It's also been noted, I can't find the exact quote, but Saric did say that, at least I saw it somewhere, that he is likely to remain in Phoenix. He loves the weather there apparently, and like I said, they had a great success in the bubble, which most likely swayed his opinion leading into the off-season. But again, if it wasn't for that great bubble performance that the Suns had, it's very likely that Saric is walking to a different team and probably ending up in a dead-end starting role somewhere. And now, as we move into the last point about a potential home run play that the Suns might make this offseason, I'm going to start off by saying that there has been a rumor circulating the NBA media streets that because the Suns had such success in the NBA restart, there could be potential that they might look to make a serious win now move in effort to carry this momentum into the next season, especially considering that the offseason is going to be shorter than most years. I recently listened to the Bill Simmons podcast, where Zach Lowe and Bill Simmons teamed up to give their opinions on the NBA offseason and throw out some trade ideas. And one trade idea from Zach Lowe that really caught my eye was the Suns being a dark horse for a CP3 offer. So I decided to hit the trade machine once again. I know that's all of your guys' favorite thing for me to do, as I usually get a lot of comments and replies on these trade offers, and I understand it's difficult being a GM, and I like to just throw these trades out here for exactly what I have gotten from them, the discussion, and I love the feedback. I love to see what you guys think about these trades, and it just makes me better at proposing these types of things. So for this case, I have the Suns bringing on Chris Paul, and in return, the Thunder receive Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, Frank Kaminsky, and the 10th overall pick in the draft. Now, there is a good amount to break down in this trade, so bear with me a little bit as we go through each and every piece of the offer. Obviously, the main piece is Chris Paul coming to the Suns. He will be operating as a secondary or tertiary scorer and also as one of the co-primary ball handlers and playmakers with Devin Booker in that Suns backcourt. I see this working because while Chris Paul might be sort of a liability on defense, Devin Booker won't be able to make up for the lack of defense from Paul, but he will be able to hold his own. It won't be the worst backcourt we've ever seen defensively, specifically thinking of backcourts like Dame and CJ, for example. But anyway, on the offensive side of the ball, Chris Paul and Devin Booker will be absolutely devastating to opposing defenses. Not only has Devin Booker already been terrorizing opposing teams for years now, but adding on Chris Paul, who has a few tricks of his own, and also being able to teach some of these tricks to Devin Booker will only make that duo all the more deadlier. And then to quickly talk through why this trade makes sense for the Thunder, they get back Ricky Rubio, who could be a bench point guard, as I imagine they're going to want Shea to take over the starting point guard job and run the offense. They also get Kelly Oubre, who is on an expiring contract next year. So the Thunder are in need of a small forward or just wings in general right now. They get Kelly Oubre to take over the starting job, give Darius Bazley some time to learn from him and just ease into his NBA role from the bench for a year. Maybe they even re-sign Kelly Oubre to a longer deal, who knows, that's for them to decide. But they also get Frank Kaminsky, who could just be a solid backup, rotational center, power forward, whatever they see fit for him. And then they also get the 10th pick in the coming draft, which I could definitely see the Thunder getting someone useful out of it, as they already have some potential star power on their team in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and there's plenty of complementary pieces and good wing fits that they could probably get at that 10th overall pick. And the Suns are okay with giving up this 10th overall pick because, in my opinion, they were likely going to use that pick on a point guard type player anyway. So in order to trade that away to get one of the best point guards we've ever seen in the NBA back on your team could definitely be a very useful swap, especially if the Suns are trying to win now or in the coming years. If this trade were to go down, we could then see a potential starting lineup for the Suns next season with Chris Paul at the 1, Booker at the 2, Bridges and Cam Johnson at the 3 and 4, Ayton still progressing at the 5, and then off the bench you have Saric along with some other pieces that they might like, or just some guys that they sign this offseason to fill in some of those bench roles. And I think you're easily looking at a deep playoff team at the least, maybe even contender if Devin Booker really does take that next leap. And that will be it for the Suns 3 for 30 video. As always, drop your comments down below on what you think I got right and what you think I got wrong. Other than that, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But most importantly, thank you for watching.